In 1985, on October 8, the star Peter Gene Hernandez was born in Honolulu, Hawaii. No one suspected that on this day, one of the world's greatest musical artists, Bruno Mars, would come into existence and soon bless our lives with some of the greatest musical hits ever heard by man. Not only can he write music, but he creates perfect sounds by utilizing his amazing voice and instrumental talents, and he bestows the most heart-stopping and magnificent performances to his audience. Some may disagree with these statements due to the one or two horrible songs that he has made here and there, or because of his past actions. However, the truth that is easy to see is that Bruno Mars is the greatest artist of our time. Bruno Mars's passion for music can be seen during his early childhood. This early dedication to his craft led him to mastering what he does best, singing and performing. Bruno has 5 siblings that he grew up with. Despite the competitive nature that could have arose from each of the children, Bruno still stood out due to his talents. From childhood, Bruno was exposed to a very wide variety of music because of his parents, who were both professional performers. His real local fame started when his uncle encouraged Bruno to perform on stage when he was 3 years old. Popularity struck him once he began performing his Elvis Presley impersonations. In order to become an artist who is loved by many, he had to begin his career by acting as someone who was once adored by his audience. He later even began to add in Michael Jackson impressions to his acts. In addition to his noticeable musical aspirations during his childhood, at his high school, the President Theodore Roosevelt High School, he even performed in a musical group known as the Schoolboys. Some could wonder how it is that he was able to master his musical talents at such a young age. What some would find very surprising is that he taught himself everything he knew. By simply being around the musical lifestyle, he learned to play the instruments like the drums or the piano or the guitar without any training. By analyzing his childhood alone, one can see the immense talent and potential that Bruno had to start his musical career. Despite his efforts to stand out during his childhood years and the large amount of recognition he received, Bruno struggled when he left Hawaii to head to Los Angeles. Because of his fame in his hometown, he was very frustrated when he couldn't make a breakthrough in the music industry and not progress his career. After realizing that he would not be gaining any assistance, he began to write his own songs. At one point, Mars had to start selling his songs because he was so broke and struggling. These setbacks, however, led him to an awakening for him to make the decision to start writing and producing songs for other very popular artists. Due to his successes in his career as a producer, Mars became known as one of the pop music industry's best songwriters, as stated in the Bruno Mars biography. As everyone knows, songwriting isn't the only thing that Bruno Mars is known for. After being a premier songwriter for many years, Bruno finally came out as a singer on his own when he released Nothing on You, that he performed with a fellow rapper, which was his first and only song at the time, was an enormous hit and was #1 on the Billboard singles chart. This one breakthrough led Mars from being a composer to a singer and performer. Several months later, his first album was released along with his first solo single, Just the Way You Are. The song was another hit for him and the album itself was #3. For his efforts as a new artist, he received many Grammy nominations, including Album of the Year, as stated in his biography. Years later, in 2012, his song Locked Out of Heaven from his second album, Unorthodox Jukebox, topped the Billboard Hot 100 for 6 consecutive weeks, and it won an MTV Award for Best Music Video, and it was the top 10 in 20 different countries. His music had not only a local impact, but he was also gaining nationwide and global recognition. One of his best songs, as stated on thefamouspeople.com, When I Was Your Man, reached #1 on the Billboard Hot 100, and his song Treasure won an MTV Award for Best Choreography in 2013. Bruno's ride to fame brought many sweet surprises to his table. For one, he was chosen to perform at the 2014 Super Bowl halftime show, putting him in the same popularity as past performers like Justin Timberlake, and Bruno even returned again in 2016 to perform his #1 song, Uptown Funk, with Beyonce. And a week later, he and his partner on the song, Mark Ronson, were both presented the Record of the Year Grammy for the song. Even Bruno's most recent work has been very successful. On his most recent third album, 24 Karat Magic, his song That's What I Like climbed to the #1 on the charts. The album as a whole was very diverse and included songs that shifted the genre of the album altogether, such as Perm and Calling All My Lovelies. At the 2018 Grammy Awards, Mars was nominated for 6 different categories and won in all of them. Over his years in the music industry, the impact that Bruno Mars has made in the music and his audience is very evident. After the immense amount of outstanding recognition and praise that the musician has received, it would be in one's worst interest to deny that he has no musical talent, and fans of his music should acknowledge his magnificent works of art. Bruno Mars is the greatest artist of our time. He independently bought himself out of a struggling life with little to no help and has now come to be one of the most popular artists that we know today. His music is all over the radio, even his oldest songs, which just goes to show that his legacy will never be forgotten. All of those who appreciate his music should give him the attention and appreciation that he deserves, and thank him for blessing his audience with great performances and even better music.